It's a nice day, sunny. Supposed to be a high of like 58 today. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to go for a walk or something. But then again, I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to push it and cause myself to crash. That's a fear that people with MECFS live with. Minor things causing you to crash. Pushing yourself even just a little bit can leave you in bed for a few days. People with severe MECFS, can't even get out of bed. So I'm thinking about this PACE trial that's been in the news and, floating around the MECFS community controversy the last few days. And the basic of the PACE trial is using a combination of cognitive behavioral therapy and graded exercise programs to basically get people to quote unquote snap out of MECFS, which to me is just insane. You don't snap out of this. This is not something that you snap out of. So I'm not going to talk too much about the PACE trial. I think if you're curious about it, there's plenty of information. There's articles for and against it. But what I will do is maybe share with you my own personal experience about using exercise to try to snap myself out of this. So I caught wind of the PACE trial, about a month ago. And in the state that I am in and have been in for a while, I'm kind of willing to try anything. So leading up to this this family trip that I was supposed to go on, and if you've watched some of my previous videos, you kind of understand where that is, but I was supposed to go on a family trip and I had to cancel last minute because my health degraded. But leading up to this family trip, for several weeks, I decided to, double my efforts on, trying to be more active, trying to get more exercise, trying to get my body conditioned to handle the activity, took more vitamins, took more supplements, and I committed to myself that I was going to stick with it no matter how painful it became. So I did. I started, exercising. I started ignoring what my body was telling me. My body was screaming to stop and I didn't stop. I would try to go 10 to 15 minutes on the elliptical, get my heart rate up to around, 150, which for me is pretty high. My resting heart rate is about, anywhere from 55 to 65 typically is where my resting heart rate is. So I do that every single day, and even though my body was telling me to quit, to stop, I ignored it and I pushed through. I had others tell me to just push through it, and, proponents of the PACE trial, the articles I was reading was saying, push through it. So I did. But, after a week and a half of doing this every single day, I hit a wall. I crashed. I couldn't do it. I couldn't will myself to do it, and I have pretty strong willpower. And then for, several days after that, I was bedridden. I mean, I could get up and go use the restroom, but that was about it. I couldn't do much else. And, it came to a point where I had to tell my wife and my kids that I couldn't go on this family trip with them, and it absolutely broke my heart. So it came time for them to leave for the family trip, and, I was still more or less bedridden. This is going on, 4 or 5 days. And as they've been gone for the family trip, I've, still been bedridden, but have been able to do just a little bit more and a little bit more every single day. So as far as using exercise to snap yourself out of MECFS, it doesn't work. It makes you worse. It makes you much worse. If you push past your boundary of exertion, then you will pay a heavy price. It doesn't matter if you're trying to exercise or going for a walk or trying to do something as simple as taking a shower or making yourself some food. If you push past your boundary, you're going to crash, and it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. It's a feeling I can't even describe, and the only people that would even understand it if I did try to describe it are probably other people with CFS or POTS or, some of these other similar conditions. So I think my personal opinion, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not even close, is that cognitive behavioral therapy has a place in treatment and recovery, but it's not the end-all be-all. In order to recover from any disease effectively or any illness, or even to maintain your baseline, you have to be able to keep your mental health and your anxiety in check. If you become depressed, if you become over anxious, you're just going to hurt yourself further. It doesn't matter if it's MECFS or if it's cancer or if it's the common cold. If you're highly anxious, stressed out, having panic attacks, deep depression, you're going to slow down your recovery, if not bring it to a screeching halt. So there's a place for CBT in treatments, but it's not the treatment. With exercise and activity, and I throw the word activity in there because that's the kind of perspective that we have to look at with MECFS patients. We have to broaden that perspective from exercise to activity and exercise. There's a place for activity in CFS recovery and maintenance. This is what I feel. But you have to work within the confines of your abilities, whatever those abilities are, or you're going to risk doing more damage to your body. There's something within this disease that causes the body to overreact to perceived danger or too much stimulus. I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, not any of those things. But it's like your body's screaming at you to cut it out. And you better listen, because if you don't listen, you're going to pay a heavy price. So if you're trying to maintain your status as, not being bedridden or being able to do little things throughout the day, it's important that you continue to do those little things throughout the day. And it's important to maybe challenge yourself in micro steps as you go along. My thought is, at the very least, do what you did yesterday. Don't let yourself go backwards. At least maintain, maybe take a micro step forward. That's how you have to look at activity or exercise with MECFS. If you're able to do 10 minutes on an elliptical and you have MECFS, and you're able to do that without crashing or paying that heavy price that we all know so well, then continue to do it. It's important for you to continue to do that. If your baseline is being able to get up and take a shower, continue to do that. Don't let yourself lose that one little bit. And then maybe you try to push yourself to sit up instead of laying back down. If your baseline is completely bedridden and you can't do anything, then use your imagination to imagine yourself doing some of these things. Put yourself in good mental state. There's some research out there that says that even if you imagine exercise, you get some of the physiological benefits. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. There's research that says it is. But if you're completely bedridden, hell, what do you have to lose? So anyway, that's my opinion on the PACE trial. I think the researchers involved in this are going the wrong direction. I think CBT and activity are an important part of management and recovery, but I don't think it's the cure. As a matter of fact, I know it's not the cure. I tested it out myself. I don't need a clinical trial to tell me that it didn't freaking work at all. It didn't work. It made me worse. It made me so much worse. And here I am, almost 2 weeks after I crashed, and I am just now regaining the ability to, sit up for a couple hours and, do some basic, activities like take a shower and make myself some tea. I got my tea here that I'm drinking. If you're out there looking for answers for MECFS, pushing yourself is not the answer. I'm sorry. Work within the confines of what you're capable of doing.